Hey there, health and wellness warriors. I hope you're doing great. I wanted to share some information that I've been reading. I found a resource, a book. It's by Jason Fung called The Obesity Code. And this is one of those books that, as I'm reading it, everything I'm hearing, I'm just going, wow, where has this been my entire life? Very, very good information on obesity, the obesity epidemic, why it's happening, and some things that we can do to combat it. So I put out a question earlier in the week, and that was, who's been told all their lives that in order to lose weight, you need to cut calories and increase exercise? That seems to be the standard response, from doctors, from health professionals, from all over the place, that, if you just want to lose weight, you need to just cut your calories and increase your exercise. And, it does work. It works for a while. It can work well for many. And for many, that's enough to keep their weight in a good spot. So I put out the question, who's lived by this, who's heard this, and I had some great answers. Geneva talked about fueling your body for performance, which is huge. When you are fueling your body, when you're an athlete and you're required to, perform for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, it's a different method of eating than it is for, the rest of the population that is not working out extensively. And there's definitely different guidelines, and fueling your body for optimal performance is huge, and that is through good nutrition, your healthy fruits, vegetables, fats, proteins, very, very important. And you, for many, are able to stay at a weight set point that works and is optimal for them. That's wonderful. Marnie threw out the watching what you're eating, exercise, and reducing stress. Huge, great answer. Both of those were great answers. Reducing stress is key, and I'll talk about why that plays such a big part as well. And again, fueling the body, eating optimally. Robin talked about changing her diet to be able to exercise more and include some healthier choices, and what a difference it's making. She's watching her weight drop, which is great news. And then Renee threw out liver disorder, enlarged liver, which, when you think about the body, the liver is the primary organ for detoxifying, and we are continually exposed to toxins in our environment, in our foods, in our waters, in our soil, in our air we breathe, and the liver is continuously detoxing. So it is very easy for the liver to become overtaxed. So it's important to, as you're eating a healthy diet, throw in some good herbs that help with detox. Make sure you're drinking pure, healthy water and plenty of it. Again, your fruits and vegetables help to detoxify. So those are key. So, obesity code, I'm going to spin off of those. Those are all excellent ways of losing weight, keeping weight off, and staying healthy. In addition to that, if you have found yourself in a place of excess weight for extended periods of time, childhood obesity more than likely increases the chances exponentially for adult obesity. You've tried cutting calories, you've tried exercise. It works for a while because it does work, and then at some point it stops working. There is a reason for that. So according to Dr. Jason Fung, the main culprit for the inability to lose weight and keep weight off is high levels of insulin in the body. And what are high levels of insulin caused from? What does it cause from? Processed foods, sugary foods, and simple carbohydrates. So go back to the insulin glucose response. We've talked about it. You already know it, but I'm gonna touch on it again. So when we eat a simple carb, it goes into your stomach, converts it into glucose. It ends up in the blood. The blood glucose levels are high. It triggers to the pancreas to secrete insulin. Our hormones work by secreting in spurts. So you get bursts of hormones in high levels, and then they quickly act on what they are needed to act on, and then they disperse back to lower levels. So you've got insulin, you get a burst of insulin, comes into the bloodstream, and it notifies the organs that need glucose, hey, wake up, open up, Glucose is here. Well, when insulin levels are high, and when they are high for an extended, persistent time period, insulin resistance results. What is insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is when insulin goes to those cells and says, hey, open up. And they say, I'm tired. I don't really feel like opening up all the way today. I might just open up halfway, maybe a quarter. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. So guess what? The organs notify the pancreas, we need more glucose, more insulin is produced, and the levels of insulin in the blood are even higher. And finally, the organs, those cells open up. But it takes extended, increased amounts of insulin. So your insulin levels are higher and the organs aren't getting the glucose levels that they need to get. Insulin resistance. Insulin resistance shows up as excess weight around your belly, tiredness, skin tags. You can have some brown patches. Your energy levels are low. There's many ways that insulin resistance can show up. Where was I going with this? So your body's not responding as well. You have higher levels of insulin. When that stays in your body for extended periods of time, the body's not functioning properly and your insulin levels stay high. Insulin, remember, signals to the body to store fat. Store fat, store fat. We're going to need it later. Keep storing fat. Well, guess what? When you are constantly in a fed state, you are constantly creating this insulin cycle, storing fat, and never burning it. You're either burning or you're storing. If you're storing, you're not. So complex, simple carbs, bad. Processed foods, bad. Snacking, number one culprit. We have turned into a society of snacking. We think that it is necessary to snack to maintain our energy levels. This, in fact, is not true. When you don't have high levels of glucose in the body, your body goes to glycogen stores in the liver and the muscles for energy sources. You have plenty of energy sources available. When those are depleted, it goes to your fats, turns those into fat, pulls out fatty acids, turns those into ketones. We have plenty of energy. We do not need snacks all the time. That is a myth. And guess what most of our snacks are? Processed foods, sugary foods. We, start the cycle of we eat the simple processed donut, muffin, whatever it might be. We get this big burst of sugar. We start the insulin response. The body drips down. Guess what? Pretty soon we're starving again. And also remember, the hunger satiating hormones are activated by fats and by proteins, not by the processed carbohydrates, the simple carbohydrates. So it's very important, if you want to feel full, feel satiated, that you eat your healthy fats, your healthy proteins, and that you give your body breaks from eating so that it can work its magic. Go back to cortisol. So stress relief, going back to stress relief. So we live in this state of stress. And this state of stress leads to excess levels of cortisol. Guess what cortisol does? It triggers the organs to release glucose into the bloodstream. So we have elevated levels of glucose. Guess what happens when we have elevated levels of glucose? Insulin is released. So it's very important. Stress relieving activities. Those can be exercise. It can be meditation. It can be all sorts of stuff. So cortisol, all our hormones are important. They all have functions that are necessary. We've got this fight or flight response that our body has, and there's a purpose for cortisol, and those quick bursts provide us the energy so that we can flee the monster that's chasing us, our fight response. So when we are constantly living in that flight or fight response, our hormone levels are off kilter and we never allow our body the downtime it needs to heal and to rest. So very important. Get rid of those simple carbohydrates. Try to stop snacking. Maybe today you can eliminate, you might not have to eliminate all snacks right at the very beginning if that's too much. How about you start with one snack? one time that you normally have a snack, skip it today. Remember also, our hunger is activated by habits. So if you always have a snack at 10 o'clock, your body at 10 o'clock might say, I'm hungry. Try to ignore it. See what happens. Just some things to try. I'm going to check my notes real quick and make sure I've touched on everything. Yeah, I think we got it. Oh, one more thing I want to say, insulin resistance. Not only does it lead to pre-diabetes and obesity, but it also contributes to high blood pressure, heart disease, hypertension, high cholesterol. There's a lot of stuff that it's responsible for. So it's really, really important to get your insulin levels under control. Main way to do that, cut out those those bad for you carbs, those processed foods, those sugary foods, those simple pastas, breads, muffins, candies, cakes. Try to cut them out. Here's the crazy thing too. When all those hormones are fluctuating all over like crazy when we're eating the processed foods, we also drop our levels of ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone. And we increase our levels of ghrelin, which makes us even hungrier. So again, that contributes to this cycle of eating poorly. So today's goal, cut out snacking. If you need a snack, eat some vegetables. But I would even encourage you to cut those snacks out for the day. Try 2 or 3 healthy meals. See how you feel. Take care. Good luck.